The date is January 20th, 2008. The Packers have just lost the NFC Championship game to the Giants 23-20, and it was Brett Favre's last game as the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. I'm Jen Lada. This is Paper Trail. We are outfitted by Wantable, your personal styling service.
Obviously, the season ended in a huge disappointment in the fact that we were at home and had a chance to go to a Super Bowl to play New England.
First of all, I remember we played them earlier that season, and for us it was no problem. And then being the season that we had, the fact that we obviously made it to the playoffs, we ended up beating Seattle, and then when we got the Giants, I don't want to say but I kind of felt like, okay, we got the Giants. Like, we already beat them. It shouldn't be anything crazy. We knew they were a tough team because they had a really good roster, but we already played them that season. And even though a lot of things can happen differently based on injuries or guys improving, but we got to that game and I felt good about it the whole time. And then I just knew, like, at the end of the game, we just had to make like good decisions. And then sure enough, like, man, you live by the gunslinger, die by the gunslinger. And when you threw that pass to, I think it was the driver, but it was in cover two, and Corey Webster picked it off, I was like, there's no way. And then obviously Lawrence Tynes went and did his thing. But that was tough. I had a couple of hard losses. And usually the ones that are tough for me are the ones I actually played in, but I didn't play in that one. And I already had my suit picked out. I already bought a suit. I already bought shoes. I still have the shoes. I don't know where they are. I still have the shoes I was going to wear that Super Bowl. And yeah, that was crushing. That was devastating.
I remember, of course, losing and being very frustrated, especially because of the manner in which we lost. We played terribly and still had an opportunity to win the game.
I'm just going to try to enjoy this season we had as much as I can and try to block this game out, which will be very hard. I'm not going to let this game sway my decision one way or the other.
44 days later, he would let Ted Thompson and Mike McCarthy know that he was retiring once and for all. It was unimaginable, unthinkable. After 17 seasons in green and gold, Brett Favre, who had led them to 2 Super Bowls, who had never missed a start, who had turned the franchise around, was just done. And yet that's what he told Chris Berman from ESPN in a voicemail, saying he was mentally tired and it was time to move on. Obviously a huge moment in Wisconsin sports history that the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel commemorated with many, many front pages and special sections, and that players say they were still shocked by.
2006, we finished 8-8, and we were like, okay, there's a chance where he's kind of like, he might shut it down, who knows. But then come back to next year, 2007, him making the Pro Bowl at 38 years old, throwing for over 4,000 yards. Us going to the NFC Championship game, we're like, damn, we might be able to run it back next year. And then to hear him contemplating it came out of nowhere.
Will he or won't he play question around Favre seemed to come up every year. At first, it was initiated by others after the team would suffer a tough loss to end the season. But every year, Favre would get back out there. Then in 2005, in January, after a tough end of the season, he actually said the words that he needed to think about his future. Well, how did the franchise respond? By going out and drafting Aaron Rodgers with the 24th pick overall that April of 2005.
Every year really since about 2005, it was always what's Brett going to do? And with Rodgers, I think that year it felt maybe a little bit different because of what happened in Dallas and I think how Aaron played.
Aaron Rodgers has completed 10 in a row and led Green Bay to 2 scores and 3 drives.
All right. I mean, Brett was a great player for us, but we believe that Aaron is going to be pretty good too. And let's get the ball rolling.
He had flirted with the idea in previous seasons, but this time it was official, and it would kick off what was an absolutely insane year in the history of the Green Bay Packers. I'm Jen Lada. This is Paper Trail. We are outfitted by Wantable, your personal styling service.